Welcome back to the Virgo channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to my channel, I'm going to do a general message for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid. Roles could be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. You also know in this channel and all my channels, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I do look at everything, but we take a lot more time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, to see how they play it as karmic themes, to help you understand why your person's doing what they're doing, why you're attracting that person into your life. What are the karmic loops? How you can again shape shift your reality. And a lot of times when you do, you don't even have a connection to that person anymore because you learn the spiritual lesson. See, the karmic lessons, once you learn them, that psychic connection is no longer as strong because you learned it, you know? And sometimes you learn it by just not participating, like not and sitting back and watching that person, suffer and not suffer in a way like, that they're dying, but the karmic consequences go back on to that person. So, karmic lessons are just to help us to evolve. It's where spirit thinks, well, you're a little blocked in this area of life. And that could be you don't know your worth. You're still like overgiving, overdoing, you're abandoning yourself. And even though you're a good person, it's to a fault. And so it goes back to not honoring that God that's inside of you. See, God is a jealous God. So it says you must love it first, and you love it first by loving yourself first. The illusion of separation is what happens when we live experiences that just aren't working. Or like saying, oh, it's just not working. And so we all live those experiences, which really solidify that core belief. So anything that keeps you in a place of fear, and that could be feeling not good enough, not having enough, not just not enough. And people can make us feel that way. People can deliberately like throw shade, and a lot of times it's because they're jealous. It's not even because they think what they think. But if you're not strong within who you are, you can let that energy break you. So hopefully the readings are not just going to teach you, how to have a better relationship, because sometimes that actually is possible. Not everybody is toxic. Some people are just toxic because they're afraid. They're not really toxic because they have the intention of being shady. Unfortunately, on this channel, there are a lot of people that are shady, but you don't need to like ream the karmic consequences from being with a person like that. You can recognize signs and symbols that they do, their behaviorisms will tell you before you actually reap the negative karmic consequences. People stay in the relationship too long. They try to make the relationship work. But if we can see things from a different perception, well, that's what healing is. Because again, that's intuitively going to give you, the advisory of what you need to do. And so trust is something that happens over time. You can get readings and that will make you feel good, but really this channel, I hope learn how to become strong within yourself to be able to discern what is good for you and what's not good for you. All right, let's jump in. Now, remember, anything of any importance or relevance to the channel you can find in the description box, including my otter spirit bracelets. Today, I mixed up some heart chakra with a little grounding, a lot of heart chakra. I feel like my heart is closed. And my heart is closed because I'm getting stuck in a perception. And that perception is, I want certain things to change and I haven't seen them change. So, you know, we have to be open to the universe. We have to be open to the process that the universe wants to give us. And a lot of times that's really hard to do when we're dealing with life, right? Life. So how can we become strong? How can we become strong within ourselves, within that trusting that God part of self? And that is only through time. And that's only through seeing, going through the fear. Like we're not free from growing through the fear. So we all have challenges. We all have spiritual blockages. So it's not about changing the environment, though we want to change the environment. We want people to do certain things. We want, the universe to kind of move faster when really spirit says you have to change. And that's what's uncomfortable because it's like, well, then how am I supposed to change? And spirit says it's always first with the mind shift, right? We have to change the way that we think, and mainly the way that we think about ourselves. Because that's really what the core belief really is when we don't like what's happening. Because we can change it at any time. The issue is trying to make something work that doesn't work. All right. Let's see what the underlying energy is. Empathy. Let's pull another one. So I already have, information flowing in. Self-righteous. Well, isn't that a cognitive dissonance, right? When we're connected to someone, that there is an ESP through the heart and mind. You do have empathy for this person. You can't help it. Soulmate person, we're always going to have feelings for. Even a soulmate could be anybody. It could be a person that you meet along in your travels that you just resonate with who they are and they feel like home and you feel safe with that person and you have a good chemistry. We know that when we meet friends, not just lovers or the person that, like people that we find attractive and we have a resonance to, like it's where we know that we're supposed to be with that person. We don't know how we know. We just know there's a lot of signs and synchronicities with soulmates. That's how you know. You know on a psychic level. It doesn't logically make sense because you say, I know I never met that person before. However, what'll happen is you're like, oh, everything that I like, this person likes. It's like it's a weird thing. Like your soulmate. Your soulmate is going to be the one that also challenges you the most. And it challenges you the most because you have feelings. And empathy is that. It's like I have feelings. However, like who you're attached to like is an ass. Is an ass. They're self-righteous. They feel the connection, but they're in their ego. They're not fixing to change. So that's the underlining energy. Like it's almost like they're angry. But we know that there's only two energies, love and fear. This person's in a place of like fear and they're angry. People that are self-righteous, they are also like they tend to act as if they're entitled. So it's almost like, how dare you not talk to me? How dare everything happen to me? Like I feel like this person that you're connected to is like reaping negative karmic consequences. They're not in a good space. That's the energy there. So again, they're distant. And when you were with them, they were distant too, but they were distant for different reason. When you hung out with this person, they were there, but they weren't there. Meaning, like you would feel like, do you want to be somewhere else? Because you're taking out your phone, you go into the bathroom, you're doing anything except for spending real time with me. You may be in the room, but you don't want to be here. Now, this person's consumed with whatever's going on in their life. So it's always like this person is in survival mode. They're like is they're needy. And the thing is, this person emotionally did not give you anything when you were in the connection. So it's almost like whatever they gave out, they're getting it back. They're getting it back. And it's all because they never asked for forgiveness. It's like again, when that's really that why this person's pissed off. They're pissed off because it's like, oh, I don't want to have to tell you everything. That you're gonna like make me like ask for forgiveness and then you have all the power. You see how this person's mind works? Like, how dare you? It's like relationships, are about, having to be transparent. It's having to be, you have to surrender your ego, when you're in a relationship. Because what happens if you don't, a lot of times the ego ruins the friendship, ruins the connection. And so people get caught up in that. But really what's underneath that is that this person feels inadequate. I don't want to let you in that much. You're going to see something, you're not going to like it, you're going to like abandon. It's because nothing's happened here. The whole thing is that this person really, if they gave you time, you didn't feel like it was quality time. You felt like it was forced, that you would have to be the one that initiated it. So this person gave very little, their heart chakra is closed. And that happens when we got hurt, when we get hurt, when we have trauma. Again, but our job here is to give and receive of love through our free will. How can we do that? We can't do that if we have so much trauma. It's just not going to work. And this person is making it all about, oh, you're gonna make me ask for forgiveness. You're holding it to, I don't even remember everything. Why don't you just let it go? It's because they know whatever they did, you wouldn't like it. That's also, so is everything's a struggle. And it gets they're struggling with their ego because it's like there's a part of them that wants to talk to you, wants to come back, but how can I come back and leave out pieces of my story and make it make sense? Because you're going to be like, make it make sense. This doesn't make sense. Like you're acting like the time, like you can jump timelines or blur the lines so I don't really remember, but you remember and they know you remember. So the underlying energy is anxiety because you know when you know when you know. Like you didn't say anything, but I know I can feel it in my tummy, like it's like because that's where it feels. And then when you really think about it, I can feel it in my heart too, and I don't like it. Not one bit, because I got to protect my heart. The heart's saying, fuck the stomach. What about me? You can't trust this person. Shut down. Mayday. It's like, and that's what this person knows, that you're going to have walls up, that you're going to be on guard because, hey, it's a soulmate connection. It's like, you're going to lie to me? You're going to lie? It's like, so this person's ashamed. They're ashamed and they're drowning in the emotion and they need help. And they didn't ask for forgiveness. No, I refuse to ask for forgiveness because that makes me look weak. That actually says that I'm wrong. That again puts this person into a right wrong instead of who cares? Who cares after a while? It's like, but instead this person's gonna be all drown in their emotions, and then that's never good because the emotions are the gateway to your spiritual healing. And if you don't do the healing, guess what you do? I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's avoidance. Person's like going to be in the addictions because hey, those are emotions aren't just happening from what you're doing. It's what's happening to this person. And so understand whatever's happening, it's almost like God's saying, hey, universe, chop chop, bring this person their karma. It's like time for them to collect. So like I said, there was someone that gets tempted very easily. They have very addictive energy because that's what happens when a person doesn't do their healing because it doesn't feel good. When we have done healing and we're in alignment with the laws of God, the laws of love, the laws of the universe, we feel good. Our heart is open, right? It feels good. It's like, and you can feel when a person has that energy. Hey, you leave and you're like, hey, I had a good time with that person. It's like, and you can also feel when the person it isn't good. Like it's like, wow, I feel drained. I have a headache. Person, I got a headache. I got a stomach ache after you leave a person. I just don't feel well. I need a nap. Sometimes you gotta leave a person and you have to go home and take a nap for like 3 hours. Well, it's this person has that type of energy because it's again, it's avoidance. And it's because that addictive behavior comes when we are suppressing, what we don't want to feel. It's like it's a way to make us feel better. That serotonin hit. It's like it's done subconsciously, but these are how habits are born. And that habit, really, Spirit says that creates a separation between you and me when it's, you know, um, too much of anything because you're dealing with life instead of self. So that's really the Spirit saying this person's not getting better. It's like because of it. Because the more that they go, the more I go down the rabbit hole. And it's like it just keeps getting worse because it doesn't get better. Like it doesn't, one problem goes into another problem, one lie turns into another lie, turns into another lie, till it turns into, hey, who am I? I'm somebody else. And I didn't really mean to be somebody else, but now everyone, people begin to look at you. You can't keep track of the lies. You can't keep track of, because of all the bad behavior and this person what they do. I don't want to apologize. I don't want to come back to you. So instead, I'm going to run around and be tempted by everything and anything. And, you know, but the whole way, I'm kind of like burning bridges along the way, not caring about how I've treated other people. That's this person, and you are in the mix, and you're like, oh, I know that I'm not playing with you, whatever this game is. So that's making this person again feel more intimidated. Again, because what you're doing is you're holding up a mirror and saying, this is who you are. And understand, because you're a soulmate, this person cares. If you were like someone that, oh, I don't care, they're ugly, you know, or I don't care, they're poor, whatever it is. When meanwhile, this person's like, I know that you're supposed to be my person and you feel this way about me, which is making me feel so uncomfortable. They didn't think that they would be affected, and that's because God says, well, they were self-righteous. They thought who they were. When you met them, it's all about surrendering the ego, because what's underneath that ego is the God part of self, the spirit part of self. The ego is something that's created due to the life that we live. Meaning if I'm interactive in the world, unfortunately, we can't just be transparent with everybody because they would think that we were crazy. I mean, and when I say transparent with everyone, hey, if we have a real shit of a day, God forbid, like, and, oh, I had a stomach ache. I was on the toilet for 3 hours. Oh my God, I'm so stressed out. My Aunt Mary, fell down the flight of stairs and that she lost a job. Now she might be one, people don't want to hear it. People don't want to hear it when I say we can't be transparent. It's like we can be real and nice and friendly, but we can't share like that, and the truth of the matter is, a person doesn't do their healing, they become like that because the emotions can't be obtained. So that's when people look like they're crazy. It's like, and that's because emotional people are like not coming from the reality that is actually happening. They're coming from their trauma because Spirit says eventually you have to heal. Otherwise, the tower, that's the tower in a tarot card. When you see the tower, what the hell was a tower mean? It means that everything went to shit. That the universe came in and said, took a wrecking ball to that person's life. And it's because they were living really out of balance. And that's what you see here. And that's why this person's mad, because it's so like they can't run to you. If anything, you're holding up the mirror when they thought you'd be the savior. Empathy, remember. Fear of change. Well, that's what it's all about. But the fear of change is what number one, the mindset. The fear is not real. It's an illusion that it's real, which means that this person is not present. They don't know which way to turn. They don't know what to do. Very common when a person's life is falling apart and they're in survival mode. That fight, flight, freeze, stuck in stupid because the logical, analytical mind's not going to work during that. So you see that this person doesn't do anything. But part of it is because everything that's happening in this person's life, it's like they're like losing it. And here it is, you're not affected by it. And so they expected you to be affected by it to trigger your jealousy. When meanwhile, you're like not affected. You're not like you're holding them to like not for asking for forgiveness, like not like apologizing, not giving you that apology and holding to it. And and here it is, you're not affected. So why aren't you affected? Are you talking to somebody else? Meanwhile, while this person's life is like crumbling. So, they're tortured right now because you were a soulmate. Like they didn't treat you right. And the thing is, this person like is one of those people that likes to be seen as perfect. And one person has shame, that's again when we don't like pieces of ourselves, like then we try to become too perfect. We know people like that there is no such thing as perfect. We shoot for excellence, meaning that you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. They're just not going to like you. And sometimes it's just, I don't, I just don't like you. There's no reason. I just don't like you. And you'll meet people like that, and you'll be like, okay, that says something more about them than it does about you. But understand, you're always going to meet people like that. But people that try to come across perfect, so they have a good job and that they drive a good car and they care about what they look like and they say all the right words and but there's a lack of empathy. There's a lack of realness. When again, where, hey, I'm so perfect, then it's also overstimulating because you'll never reach perfect. Salvatore Dali told us that. It's like it'll drive you mad, and it will drive you mad. So you have to find your unique unfoldment process. This person is saying, my life is falling apart. I'm used to having everything look a certain way, but even if it was facades and not real, now I don't have that. So it brings this person back to the core of who they are, and like you said, it's going down the rabbit hole. So the more that they investigate, the more healing that they have to do, and they don't really know how to get out of it. And their life is crumbling at the same time. And here you are having a good old time ignoring this person, is what this person sees. So they're being put in this position, really, that they're going to have to surrender their ego. They don't want to surrender their ego because they don't want to deal with the judgment. And that's what I said. This person said, oh, you're going to ask me a lot of questions, and I don't really want to deal with those questions. So this is what this person's doing because it comes down to lack, and really there is no lack. The universe is abundant, and if we're on track and doing what we're supposed to do, then the universe conspires a way where there is no way. God makes sure of that. It's like, but we have to be grounded and we have to be interactive in our life. We have to, do our part. It's like where this person is not doing anything. What they're doing is they have fear of change. They're stuck and stupid because all this stuff is happening. And you're part of their awakening process because, hey, you're someone that they thought was going to rescue them. They thought that you were always going to be there. They thought that a soulmate was that. Someone that was, hey, like I'm going to treat you like mommy. I can come and go and, do whatever I want, how I want, when I want, and you're just always going to be there. And now what this person sees is no one's there. This person burnt too many bridges along the way. And that's what we see. Don't know what this person is going through. I mean, don't know why this person is going through what they're going through, but it's irrelevant in this story. What's most important is the fact that their life is crumbling, and that you're part of that, and what are they going to do and how are they going to do it? Right now, there's a part of them that has just fear of the obligation, and they have a lot of guilt because again what's happening in their life, so they're just unclear, and like we said, frozen, stuck in like stupid, when a person's like frozen because but it's there that this is the first part of when a person's life crumbles and comes, when there's a clean sweep. This person has lost their job, like their security, their home, like they lost everything. It's almost like if this person went to the track, they bet it all, they lost it all. That's almost the energy. And they might have not went to the track, but they gambled their life in some way, and it feels like that type of energy. And that's very impulsive energy. That's again where the life has always been turbulent. So this person, they want to heal the unresolved conflicts with you, understand that, but they're afraid that it's going to be turbulent. And that's because and they're probably also not going to really know how to approach. They're not very emotionally intelligent. So the way that they would do it would be turbulently because this person just feels like a ball of nerves that doesn't really know what to do and because again their life has just crumbled. So it's almost like they, again, storms of love, like, well, the conflict maybe again like, is an opportunity for change. It's like actually like what this person is like. It's actually pushing them, which is the first sign that the ego is starting to drop. And that's because the person is saying, well, who can I talk to? And it's like, yeah, even though I didn't apologize to you, maybe I can just like apologize. But I feel like this person wouldn't be 100% transparent with what's going on or what did happen. So you have to be, again, like they're going to do it the way that they know how, but you have to be careful that you don't wind up in an entanglement because this person is not capable of like having boundaries, and it's because of where they are. They're not a person. They don't have like an identity, kind of. Their life has crumbled and now they're going to look for help. You don't want to be that person because it becomes like that. But we can see, I mean, this person's behaviorisms and habits are going to be the same as what they've always been. What has gotten this person into the situations that they've been in is because they always rely on other people and get into bad relationships and then aren't don't honor those relationships, is what I'm feeling. And that's why, like I said, the entanglement would be that, like a cycle would begin. And like I said, this person's a karmic. And they're a karmic because they don't know. Now, does that mean you should kick them to the curb? Well, I feel like you can like be friendly and nice to this person, but have very strict boundaries. You can set an example by how you live. And you can, again, teach boundaries, and teach that person. But you'd have to have strict boundaries. Always like with love. You don't want to like make the person feel like rejected and be like, no, how dare you? They already feel shame. Their life is already crap. So it's like you don't have to make them feel like crap. But you do have to have strict boundaries because this person is looking for help. That's where they are right now. That's what they're going to do right now. Are they thinking about you? Yes, but more like maybe you can help me. Maybe again, be like my friend, this and that. And the thing is, it's like they're in a different place than where you first met them. So, the boundaries, like teaching a person. And if they're a real soulmate where you really truly have feelings for this person, you may think that that's not a big deal and you can do that. It's like the key is to keep it from not like consuming. because this person is like needy. They're not in a good place. So they were needy what before it happened. Now they're even more needy. So you have to say, why did you attract this person into your life? I'm also looking for another deck. Um, it disappeared. This is what happens. It disappears on me. Disappears on me. Don't ask me where it goes. Well, we'll pull from this deck first. Let's look at the inner child wound cards to see why you attracted this person into your life. Well, six. And then let's pull six. These cards for the transmutation cards. That's six and six. Okay, let's see. Look, first card out is trauma, feeling unworthy, abuse. So that could be psychological and emotional because feeling unworthy, feeling not good enough. So life becomes very frustrating when the child grows up with trauma because they automatically feel that there's something wrong with them because that parent is making them feel unworthy. So they're going to view themselves like there's something wrong, and all their habits and all their behaviorisms are built on that perception that there's a flaw. So the child doesn't create themselves. The child then like loses their optimism. And so again, they also lose their will to have their inner that to listen to their inner authority because hey, their survival is based on pleasing that parent. But if that parent is like just is abusive, traumatizing them. I mean, we see here it's even like physical abuse because this child has physical, so like marks on them. So, like, we know when a child is feeling unworthy and feeling not good enough and feeling like shame, they shrink themselves. And all habits and all behaviorisms then are built on that perception. And then they also perceive the world as not a safe place because that's what that parent conditions them to believe. So we can see why you would attract somebody that has so much trauma here. See, if you didn't create yourself enough, and it doesn't mean you didn't have hobbies or interests, but you couldn't support yourself doing those hobbies and interests, and maybe you hate your job. And there's a perception that you can't like do what you love, and maybe it's because you haven't grounded it enough. You haven't done enough. Mastery comes in doing. And when we're interactive with what we love, God makes a way where there is no way just for us, but we have to again be willing to put in the work and the time, and that doesn't happen if you're feeding a connection like this. This person in the beginning, they were wrapped up in other people, other things. Their addictive behavior. That's what it looks like, and the demise of their life. But they lost it all. And so Spirit says, take the time out to create and cleanse a tranquil area for reflection. Spend time with yourself. It's again, because if you were with that person or you wanted to be with that person and you didn't notice everything, it's because, hey, you were too close up to the picture. So it's more about what do you need to do to fix your life? What do you need to do to create more of a lucrative life for you? Release control. And they're like, hey, the universe's time is always divine time. God says, don't rush me. In the quiet, I'm sculpting you, I'm polishing you, I'm restoring you, and that takes time. And so it's again, but everything happens in its right time. So again, you just continue to work on yourself and heal yourself during this time. you wouldn't be asked to take time out so that you can see beyond the illusion, discern the truth that fear obscures, and see the reality of your life. Meaning you don't need to live a reality like that or be connected to that. That's a sign that there is too much trauma still and not enough life. You know, when we go out in life and create new experiences, guess what? They create new neurological pathways within our mind. We get to see things differently. We embody a whole other reality, and that only happens from listening to the whispers of your own soul. Always align your actions with your values, however, and we always want to make sure that we're coming from a Christ consciousness, the highest state of consciousness, of one of unconditional love. When we do that, then we again are not afraid to live with a fearless heart. Again, to have the courage to act from a place of love instead of fear. That doesn't mean that we're a doormat. Again, Spirit says if you're dealing with this person, there's a soulmate, and there is loving, there is caring, then you want to handle it with love. You want to handle it the way that with respect and honor, and not making the person feel like crap because they already feel that way, is what Spirit says. Use your powerful voice. Spirit says you're a good speaker. Use your voice to express yourself fearlessly with courage. So that doesn't mean that you're mincing your words to this person. What it means is that you're setting boundaries, that you're uh, again you're setting the stage for how and what you will expect from them, how you want to be treated from them. But you let that person heal. You let that person, you don't have any other, you know, prerequisites. You're not going to tell this person what they need to do, how they need to do it, how they need to do their healing, no, you're going to give them that area to do that themselves. You can be the example. You can give suggestions, but again, through boundary. So you may talk to this person once in a while, give them the advice, but it's again, you don't want to do more than that because they need to do their healing, Spirit says, and you need to do yours. Again, this is just teaching you how to deal with them, but also it was more about you listening to the whispers of your soul guiding you to do what you need to do for yourself at this time, because there's still the healing that needs to be done. Otherwise, you wouldn't have attracted this person into your life. Spirit says you're deserving of love. Everyone's deserving of love. That's just you're stuck in a consciousness due to what you've experienced. That's all. And I don't make mistakes, God says. So there's a whole other life, and you're going to meet people and other experiences. Freedom. Realize that your wounds create doubt, resentment, and guilt. So work free. Work to free yourself of the darkness. Cast off negative thoughts, find peace in your heart, and discover the being of light within yourself, is what Spirit's saying. This is what you need to do. Because then once you find this freedom, you're able to have an open heart. You're able to vibrate at the energy of unconditional love, and then you're a magnet for that energy, not for the wounds of the past. I'm going to leave that there. You let me know how you resonated. Don't forget to give the video a like and comment. Love you guys. And don't forget to check out the links in the description box. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.